Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Welcome to National Net, podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I'm Lisa Fernandez, and
I'm Chris J. Wardna. Hello.
And we're about to review the episode Helmut Weekend from season 7, written by Roger Garrett, directed by Tom Tribovich. I'm sure Chris has some facts about Roger coming up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is such a good episode. This is a great episode, a wonderful episode. It is a highlight of both the season and the series. Here's what the episode's about. Just as Lenny and Squiggy are set to debut a brand new act, Jungle the Clown, at Cowboy Bill's, Squiggy gets a telegram from his ne'er-do-well father, Helmut. It turns out that Helmut's coming to LA to visit his boy. Squiggy eagerly arranges for Helmut to sleep on the floor of their apartment, but it soon becomes apparent that his dad wants more than a night on the sofa. He wants to replace Lenny as a partner in Squignowski. As Lenny steps back into a silent partnership role, it becomes clear that Helmut is bad for Squiggy and bad for Squignowski as a whole. Will Andy have the strength to tell his pop to buzz off? What do you think about this one? Man,
that explains a lot.
Yeah, this is a great episode. Oh, it's psychologically rich. It's beautifully done.
Yeah, it's like from the script on down, like everybody understood what they were doing.
Oh, yeah. This is fabulous. It's fabulous in every single respect. I cannot think of any way in which it falters. It is so good. It's yet another episode where Squiggy comes closer and closer to respecting Lenny. Lenny stands up for himself. The boys are there for each other, and Squiggy realizes once again that he and Lenny have raised one another, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's his best friend. That's the person he loves him the most in this world.
Yeah.
And this is where his devotion should be. And he comes to that realization really hardcore. This is such a rich, well-written, well-acted episode. David Lander should have put this on his Emmy reel. I know Laverne and Shirley was never going to get an Emmy for anything, because people are a-holes. But honestly, I hope he put this up for an award at the Academy. Because God is it good. It's some of his best work on the show, and he's done a lot of great work on the show.
Absolutely. And, it's a case of where David is that great combination of comedic character actor where he can make you laugh and he can have all these touches, but everything he's doing is with so much intention. And so as the anger and the rage and the hurt that comes out of him at the end, it's so powerful. Like there's this showstopper moment of that whole final argument. And it's and the moment he it's just, we're getting ahead, but there's the moment of you're a thief. And it's just, oh my God, it burns so hard.
And then when he just castigates Helmut for leaving him as a child and then just leaving him again as an adult. And it's just, so good. Right in the chest. So good.
Now, so that being all said, now, obviously, there is a lot of funny in this episode. This is very emotional. Yes. We'll get to that. But,
a ton.
Like, the way that it begins, because this is a very boy-centric episode, but the girls are definitely, they're present enough. Like,
they're present enough.
Like the opening with the skimpy outfit and Shirley just screaming in horror at what Laverne is wearing to Mr. Weaver's retirement lunch at Bardwell's.
My initial note on this subject is, why is Laverne going to this retirement luncheon dressed like Kelly Bundy? That is true.
Do you want to give the man a heart attack? I love that line.
The audience hoots, by the way, like she is Kelly Bundy as well.
And then we have the whole thing of, Shirley going along her own attire. It's like you could dress in a suit like this. A woman in a suit like this looks refined, not available. And cue Rhonda collecting for the home for unwed actors with a little wiggle in the same outfit.
Yes. And she also manages to exude class, even though Shirley thinks she doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
And Rhonda's so flattered that she thinks this is classy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Shirley didn't need that slut-shaming lesson there. She really kind of did.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. And it's because when it comes to that whole, it's like, you dress like a skank, whatever. It's the person who's calling that is the asshole, not the person wearing the clothing.
Yeah. Not that Shirley's a full asshole, but enough of a one here where you're like,
in this one scene, it's like, wow, that's a dick move there, Shirley. You might want to maybe take it down a notch, Maybe leave your judgy self-righteousness at the door on your way out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, she's being very autocratic and judge. This is part of the Shirley Flanderization here, where we get hyper-sexualized Laverne and hyper-frigid Shirley, in quote, frigid.
Yeah, which is so incredibly strange on multiple levels, given what we've seen of her both in this season and what we're even about to hear about her in a couple of episodes when Carmine gets a little peek at something. But we'll get there.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah, which is interesting because she's been more and more open.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Conversely, she's been more and more open with him, and they've been like making out with him, like lying on top of her.
Yeah. I'm wondering if it's the context of, you know, she just feels like, you know, Mr. Weaver's an older man, and older men just remind her of like parents and uncles and grandfathers and stuff like that. And that's where you have to be classy for them. You have to be classy for your elders, you know? And perhaps, you know, with her peers, she's maybe a little looser.
Yes. Shirley's got a lot of bullshit running around in her head thanks to Barb.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, anywho, then we have...
Don't bend over. Wow.
Oh, God, I forgot about that. You're right, that line. Oh, wow.
Ow. But this, you can feel like the kind of... I said a couple of times that some stuff in this season feels like kind of Married with Children stuff. Where we're like, we're roughly 5 years away from Married with Children debut. This feels like a practice run in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just one example of this. That is just one example of all this, because Lord.
And it almost feels like, you know, to an extent, they had to find whatever way they could to kind of get their quota per episode of how much TNA they could sneak in. You know, the jiggle, to get that jiggle TV rating sort of going.
Yeah, they didn't get that pressure on them until around season 6, which is when they brought on poor Leslie Easterbrook to be, you know, Rhonda with her boobs out, to a degree. But on the other hand, she got to craft this character who's just like witty and funny, and has spirit and spunk, especially in the episodes that especially in season 7 in general.
Oh yeah,
she's this way, but she has a lot of great little moments and stuff like how that Lightning Man.
Exactly. Yeah, there's
she gets to just go boom,
yeah, Lightning Man. That's entertainment. There's multiple episodes through this whole season really that is Rhonda. You know, Rhonda really redeemed herself in a big way for me this season.
Yeah, you couldn't stand her for a while, but I told you she redeems herself. I knew I was right.
Oh, by the way, Lisa, how much does a hen weigh?
Oh, I didn't write down the answer. You didn't write down the answer to the riddle, but I just wrote down how much the hen weigh.
Anyways, so then we get to Rhonda. Speaking of Rhonda, we have her hi-ho into the boys' apartment, and I love the remark about when she's asking for unwed actors, and they go, we gave it the office, and then enter Junko, the juggling clown. You're gonna cry laughing.
I'm Junko the clown. I will not let you down. I am Junko the clown.
And I love this whole thing where so you see Junko come out without his makeup, and it's like, ain't you got no imagination? Imagine this man in a clown outfit with carburetors on his neck, and he's open tonight at Cowboy Bill's.
Yeah, I love it.
The Junko.
Lenny's face as he does this is great too.
Oh, it's so cute. Yep. And anyway, I'm giving you the comedy find of the decade, and all you can give me is very nice. You're a cold woman, Rhonda, cold woman, and she smooches that Lenny.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The way Michael acts this is really terrific. You notice the way first he shakes, then he goes stiff, then he goes limp. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful acting. He did such great physical work on this show. And a lot of it was like really broad, but some of it could be really subtle, and that's a nice little subtle moment.
Definitely.
That I really enjoy. She's the kind of cold that makes you want to fall into a warm bath.
Control yourself in front of Junko, okay? He's an artiste.
I'll try.
My note on this is, she broke the Lenny.
Now, did Leslie get a rash? Is my question.
That's a good question. You know, she's still kicking. She could tell us. And then we get the knock at the door, and they're get that Junko, and we enter the mailman. Who I love that it's the mailman wants a tip. He ends up giving he does a hey brother, and then he gives him an up yours gesture to Squiggy on his way out. Yeah. And Squiggy just high fives it. Give me 5, brother. Right.
Hey, brother.
And
Those white people intimidate me.
Those white people intimidate me. That line, oh my God. There's a couple of really good zingers the boys get in dialogue. I know there's one coming up that for this recording session, we're very excited to get to in Lightning Man that ends that episode.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yes. I am curious about how much improvisation that David and Michael were doing here, because some of it feels very off the cuff. I wouldn't be shocked if it was at least part of this was improvised between the two of them.
Totally.
Imagine being Junko juggling a blazing bowling ball over your head. Just think about the nerve that requires.
So when it comes to Junko, I'll mention this when we get to the actual scene of him doing his act, but yeah, we'll come back to that. Just put a pin in that detail of juggling bowling balls and doing juggling tricks. Just put a pin in that. We'll come back out. Anyway.
Yeah, I will. He can juggle, but he can't carry a tune. The poor guy just singing his little heart out, and he can't.
Nope, ain't happening.
I mean, kleine Volkswagen.
Mm-hmm. It's a German phrase. It means my little bug.
It's adorable in its own way and sad.
Yes.
Limo. There is a great clip from this era of Michael McKean sitting in the back of a limo that's on Entertainment Tonight. No, specifically it's an Entertainment Tonight clip, and I haven't seen it in ages. And he is in the back of a limousine with David, and he looks in the lens and he goes, "Well, Squig, here we are in a limo."
Aww.
Yeah.
I am amazed though they also threw in the line. Now, what English guy can we get for this?
Yeah. English guy. Wow, was my note. Yeah. But I love little things that they would do in a routine or in an improv that ended up in the script. In Michael's case, he says things like, "I have an uncluttered mind like a tot," or of a tot.
Right.
On his Twitter, in real life, and that is a line that is in High Neighbors.
Yeah. And then, there's multiple little pieces like this where, even the, this line that comes up, unless this is February, tomorrow's the 5th, like that feels like a routine line, Yes. It's very boys. It's very David and Michael just bouncing off of each other and seeing what sticks and what feels good. And it really, really works in this episode. It always works. It works all the time on the show, and it absolutely works in this episode. I will say that. Michael's nonsense singing here, Lenny's nonsense singing, I wonder if that's kind of like pastiche Polish. I think it's pastiche.
I couldn't tell.
I mean, it's just, hey, it's better than sing whatever.
Whatever I sing.
Anyone who gets that reference, you get a Satellite of Love cookie.
Yes, we know we have Misties in the audience. We can hear you. We can hear you all breathing. So he's singing in Polish, dusting and doing very light housework. And he thinks he can sit there and blow up a air mattress before Helmut arrives.
Yeah.
Which is very Lenny hopeful.
Easier if you take the cap off, Len, and I love his response. Like, what, did you go to college, Carmine?
The total resentment. He's just so done with him. It's great. He very, very rarely goes off on Carmine like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to kind of see it happen in a way. Because he's just done.
It also comes off to me because, I mean, you can imagine him saying an insult like that in high school and Carmine kicking his ass for it. And the fact he doesn't, I think, is a sign that, Carmine sort of like has learned to appreciate the boys in his own way, which I think is kind of cute.
Yes. And also they have figured out how to treat each other at this point because they're years beyond Carmine stealing their lunch money, which he said he did. He literally did say he stuffed them in the lockers and stole their lunch money. In the fact that he actually helps them. He helps them in their schemes now. He hangs out with them.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a throwaway line in Friendly Persuasion. He's actually spending time with the two of them. So that's interesting in of itself.
Yeah. I mean, he even takes an interest in asking, what Squiggy's dad really like. And I love Len's response, It's like, I'll tell you, Carmine, he's charming his own kind of way. But he has certain bum-like tendencies.
Bum-like tendencies is perfect.
Yeah, and is fantastic. We are going to see how much bum-like tendencies is a fucking understatement.
Oh yeah. Lenny has known this guy since he was a small child. Frank has known him since the 1940s. So they know what's up. They absolutely know what's up, and poor Squiggy's obviously going to be snowed because that's his dad. Bum-like tendencies is putting it minorly. Oh, he's a bum. He is a scumbag. He is a scumbag.
Yep, I think it is that is made abundantly clear when Lenny goes for the hug, and his response is, "Hands off, fruitcake! I'm not your wife."
Wow! Wow!
I swear,
And then
there are so many people that I like have done that type of greeting with me, like, you know, where it's like they suddenly try to own the room as soon as they walk in, and I pretty much want to never see them again after that moment. That is the kind of, like, I wouldn't even say it's a toxic; it is an atomic first impression. We're talking like the earth is soiled with radiation and will no longer be habitable for at least 90 years.
You are God's mistake. And ultimately, Helmut does not care. He just doesn't care. It's all about him. Everything's about him. The universe revolves around him. His son's just a means to an end.
Absolutely.
And it's awful. And it's absolutely awful. And the actor who is playing him just nails it to the wall. By the way, this wasn't their first pick.
Yes, but yeah. So so I have the notes about the person who was Helmut. But yeah, there's the person who wasn't Helmut. So Lisa, you were the one that drove me to understanding this story initially. How did we find out about this? Because this was an interesting surprise.
There was a David Lander interview where he talked about this, and I think Michael has mentioned it on his Twitter. This was Timothy Carey.
Timothy Carey.
Yeah, they initially offered him the role. They initially asked him to be in the show. It didn't work out, so they recast the part.
Gotcha. Yeah, and so people who are curious, like, you know, what would at least Timothy Carey have looked like in the role? For reference, he was in the 70s. He was in Killing of a Chinese Bookie, Minnie and Moskowitz, and The Outfit, which I always like to mention. The Outfit had the second director of, I think it was Thomas Lennox, I think, who was a season 1 or season 2 director for Laverne and Shirley. I always like to bring that up. But yeah, he was a very active actor and all of that. And, you know, but he was definitely... He had some interesting, you know, quirks in his filmography. Like, you know, like when you look at his roles, it's like he never really like found a niche. Like he plays the sniper in The Killing, the Stanley Kubrick movie, but then he's also like, you know, just a working actor in like Cowboy G-Men in the early 50s. You know, he's in he has like an uncredited role in Shock Treatment. He even he's in both the One-Eyed Jacks in 1961 and around also in the early 60s. He wrote, directed, and starred in The World's Greatest Sinner, which is it's a kind of a small indie feature about a bored salesman who quits his job and creates his own political party called the Eternal Man Party, and then refers to himself as God. And then he starts having doubts about the eternalness of man. So you can totally understand. Now, this is why I'm bringing this up, is because you can kind of understand why they would have wanted this guy to play Helmut, because he would have been a rather rapscallion character actor. And the fact he had obviously Cassavetes experience, you know, and had done, you know, by this time he had done TV, you know, he was on the East of Eden miniseries. He was in Beretta. Could have been interesting. But yeah, according to the tweet I was able to find from Michael, it was doomed booking, I guess, is what he called that. Yeah. And that he was the craziest.
Yeah, he called it doomed.
Yeah. On a shoot, so this is the tweet from September 2nd, 2021. On a shoot sitting in a car waiting for action, and my scene partner asked me who the craziest actor I'd ever worked with was. I said Timothy Carey. The walkie-talkie under the seat crackled to life with the director's voice. Boy, me too.
I love that story. I love that story. Yeah, can you imagine being too wild for the set of Laverne and Shirley, considering how much stuff
oh my god
the show went through in that time?
Yeah, absolutely. So now the person who was Helmut Squiggman, Win Irwin.
Yes.
So this dude is old school. He was a longtime comedic performer, even down to his high school days, where he would go work Catskills resorts. He became a regular on TV in the 70s, you know, but he basically had been doing a lot of performing, you know, all his life, all his career, essentially. But he played Arthur Swan in Lots of Luck. He was Al Marks in Sugar Time, and even Corporal Leva in the From Here to Eternity miniseries. Now, cool trivia about Win Irwin is he also was in Willie Dynamite and the film Dirty Mouth, which was later overshadowed by Bob Fosse's own Lenny Bruce picture. But Dirty Mouth was a film about Lenny Bruce. And so again, fitting that a guy who's in Willie Dynamite, From Here to Eternity, and a movie about Lenny Bruce would end up being Squiggy's dad.
Yeah. Beautiful irony there. Gorgeous.
And after this performance in Laverne and Shirley, he pops into Heart to Heart as Lieutenant Gray. He ends up on an episode of Max Headroom. He has a bit part in Die Hard 2, and even makes it up to the 90s and the aughts with Dead Man on Campus and Surviving Christmas. So he had a really good long run. He did unfortunately pass away at the age of 85 in 2018. But man, wow, that's a good run.
Yeah, it's a good long life. Good on him. R.I.P., sir, and thank you for all of your work. Lenny's impression of the way he used to look up to Helmut when he was teeny tiny.
Oh, gosh.
So cute. It's cute, so cute and so sweet. And the fact that he thinks the reason why Helmut rejected the hug is because he doesn't recognize him.
Yeah.
No, he recognizes you, honey. He just thinks you're gay, and he's being a homophobic prick.
Right. And it's God, and Lenny's little kid voice is everything. Yeah. Oh, Mr. Squigman, can Squiggy come out and play? That's so cute.
Yeah. You can imagine them just like hanging around each other since they were like 4 or 3, which is what canon implies. And it implies that they met the girls around kindergarten, so they've all known each other for way too long at this point in their lives. The double hello entrance here, though, lit in the fuzzballs.
Hello, God, love it.
Yeah, so great.
We basically right away see how Squiggy is a better version of his father. And it makes you realize, like, very quickly in short order, how much you prefer, like, Squiggy, because Squiggy in many respects is played as an antagonist in the show. Like, he's played as a person who creates complications, who does things wrong, etc. You know, he can be a bit of a bully, he's a sexist, and etc. But man, I would take Andrew Squigman, even season 1 Andrew Squigman, over Helmut any day of the week. I mean, this is a guy who literally calls his son's best friend a Hollywood Yahoo that would try to squeeze him like a melon. And and even that line, like, Lenny asks Squig, did he always used to be this angry? And he goes, no, he was more violent. Like, that made me cringe in so many ways.
Which means that he at least hit Squiggy at least once when they were young.
I would say multiple times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you don't want to think about it, but yeah. We already know that Squiggy was psychologically abused by his mother, basically physically punished by his mother, so it just adds more horrible stuff onto the psychological pile of crap the boys went through when they were younger.
Absolutely.
It is awful. It's really awful if you think about it. He used to be a very angry man. He still is, son. He still is.
And immediately trying to move into Lenny's spot. Like, you want me to sleep in your bed? Hell no. Now you're talking like my kid. And it's like, that. This is not something to be proud of. You are kicking his, it's like, you are this, he's a parasite, like, let's.
Yes.
And we're going to, as we go through the episode, yes, very much.
Helmut, to quote the wonderful and inimitable Dennis Reynolds, is a garbage man. He is a garbage man. He is awful.
Yep.
He is terrible.
That being said, this scene, though, and getting to spend this much time in the boys' bedroom, my next note here as we're getting around this is the Bat Lady comic book poster.
That's cool. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. The Bat Lady comic book poster just popped right in my head.
Oh, yeah. The boys have not given up on their love of all kinds of things, superhero and B.
Mm-hmm.
All kinds of B movie stuff. Squiggy just basically echoes Helmut and shows you how much a Helmut, trying to be like Helmut, has worn upon him.
Mm-hmm.
And formed his personality. And made him this very, 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 very blunt and razzmatazz kind of person who may or may not think about using someone first. But we know Squiggy is a better person than Helmut.
Exactly.
Now, it's not even that he's developed into a better person than Helmut. Even back in season 1 and season 2, he's a better person than Helmut. Season 3, he's definitely a better person than Helmut. Because he does care about other people. He does care about Lenny. He does care about the girls. Even if he doesn't always respect everyone, he cares. So when you see Helmut out there being the worst possible person in a room, you wonder how much of Squiggy's personal instincts he's kind of muffled and mollified here to be more like his dad.
Exactly.
Yeah. It kind of hurts. It really kind of hurts. If you really think about it.
Oh, it does, yeah.
He's definitely 20 years older. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've been working out.
Your own business. You're a clown. I was gonna say Lenny has his lone wolf jacket on. It's been a long, long time since we've seen it.
It has. It's very comforting, actually, to see it again.
Yeah, yeah. We haven't seen it since I think early in season 6. We're gonna see it again in season 8, but it's the first time in a long time he actually puts it on. And where is it? So emotions. I love that Lenny, when confronted with "please write this contract for our talents," copies it from their apartment lease. It says we owe Mr. DeFazio a refrigerator.
Yeah. Oh, I love. Yeah, exactly. It's using the lease contract. I mean, there is.
So
I feel so. I feel incredible sympathy for Lenny, because I've been the contract guy on productions. Those suck. They're terrible.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. If you're not into legal jargon, it's gonna be tough. You're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a mega bad time.
Yeah. Poor Lenny. I have a bunch of sad faces on my notes about Lenny being left behind to whine. I don't know how to do that. Yeah.
I love him so much. This clown don't look like the clown I hired.
Yeah. Oh no, this clown is my dad. Helmut? Hey, Helmut, been a long time. DeFazio. Yeah, you're still alive. Yeah. I'm gonna stay alive till I collect that $10 you owe me since 1946. I love protective Uncle Pop DeFazio.
So do I.
I love he tries to get it off of Squiggy. He then tries to get that $10 off Squiggy to pay back Frank. Of course he does.
Yeah.
And
of course.
you could see you could see that anger in Pop's face. Like he's seen because he's also I think what he's seen is a similarity in Jack fucking Feeney.
Oh yeah. He knows that all the gang, except for perhaps Lenny and perhaps Carmine, have had shitty dads. He knows for sure that Lenny had a shitty mother.
Yeah.
And that ultimately, in the end, what he has to do is protect these kids from the sins of their parents. In a lot of ways. He knows that he can't protect Laverne ironically from his own overprotectiveness, which makes her rebel and go out with strange guys and have a lot of fun freewheeling times, which could endanger her at this point because she's going out with guys that she doesn't even know.
Yeah.
She doesn't even get their names at this point.
Precisely.
She's going to end up being a victim of the Hillside Strangler at this point, the way season 7 is going.
Oh,
my God.
Yeah, that's likely. And you know, again, this is a case of where, and now we see that, you know, as much as we consider that you could consider Lenny and Squiggy to be antagonists in the show, Squiggy especially because of his outrage and etc.
I think the boys are equal protagonists. I think they're both.
That's what they've become now. That's what I mean. Is that there is a sense that they do bumbling things that create conflicts for characters within the show.
Yeah,
but he also, you know, sometimes. I mean, like Lightning Man.
Yeah, like back in season 2,
well, none of the awards even. You know, those are bad guy moves. It's the mistakes that a antagonist has to make, even if they're a good person, is what I mean. And again, you realize how much more preferable it is that Frank would have made a deal that you don't date Laverne. You know, that's, you know, like, I'm going to pay you not to date her.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm going to pay you not to date her.
Right.
But he doesn't pay Lenny.
Yeah. But anyway,
yeah, But ultimately, I think the boys have gotten a certain layer of sympathy here. At least by season 2, they've begun to round out into people, perhaps almost in spite of what David and Michael intended in the first place. Because they said, we are never going to let these characters develop layers. We are never going to let these characters develop or broaden. And by season 7, they sure as hell have.
Well, I would even say that the roots of that come in High Neighbor, because if you didn't have High Neighbor, which they wrote.
Yeah.
Because I think this is a case of, you know, we have these intentions, right? That, you know, because you and I are writers, we get this. Yeah. That when you start with a character and it's like, this is going to be the most villainous, blah, 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 and then you spend more time with them and they stop being a bad person, you start realizing they're a person with issues. They're a person with problems and they're struggling against them. Yeah. It's one of the reasons I actually prefer the shorter grindhouse cut of Death Proof, because I feel like it's easier to feel a sense of like maybe not camaraderie, but you almost like you kind of like or appreciate stuntman Mike more because you just spend more time with him. It's kind of like Maniac. You're spending more time in his shoes. You feel ugly and dirty for doing so, but you're spending more time in his shoes. Whereas in the Grindhouse cut, you see less of him. So he really is the shark in the water. So when he gets shot and injured and crying like a baby drinking, JD in his car, it feels so much better. And, and so that's the thing is when you have characters that are on
stop his head and
yeah,
that's great.
Exactly. No, and that's the thing is like, you could have, because when you consider Bachelor Party, when you consider, if you just take the episodes where the boys are at their worst, you take Bully Show, Night at the Roxy, you take
Road to Burbank,
another example, those are bad guys. Those are bad guys of the episode.
For them, they're worse.
Exactly.
They're worse.
Exactly. But then when you look at the timeline of High Neighbor, like I even keep saying, you look at High Neighbor, you look at High Neighbor Book 2, you look at Driving Test, you look at Shirley's Operation, you look at Debutante Ball, you look at all these, Visit the Cemetery, even to an extent, Buddy, Can You Spare Father? Because, Squig is doing not the greatest job of trying to comfort Shirley, but he's trying. He's like, your dad's a bum, just like my dad's a bum. Like we now see in Helmut Weekend, he gets it. This is why he gets it, because he is also another latchkey kid with a really shitty absentee dad.
Yeah. Squiggy knows what Shirley has been through. Squiggy knows what Shirley has seen. Even his parents were basically, drunks to a degree. And he knows that Jack has that in him. And he knows what she's been through. It's like Lenny knows what Laverne's been through because they both lost their moms. Mm-hmm. They relate to these girls on this primal level. And ultimately, that's why the girls relate back to them. And why they can't shake them, even though they think they want to shake them. Yeah,
because there's something that is, if they are gone from their lives, there will be a hole there that no one else can fill.
Yeah.
No one else immediately, anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Trust me, you will find out as season 8 unspools that nobody can fill that hole. Trust me. You will find things out. You will learn.
I worry. All right. Anyway, though, this Squig, though, he gets around. He's an operator. You came a long way, Andy. I see a big future for you, for me, for the family. Wouldn't have it any other way for a son of mine. And already we can see in the scene of taking him to Cowboy Bill's, you can see that Helmut's already starting to work his charm on the blonde, and he's trying to weasel his way into the business and cut out Lenny, the kid with all the hair.
Yeah. And later we see Squiggy Mac on a shapely blonde at some point during Light Man. Yeah, you just, it's kind of an echo.
It's
kind
point.
Of an echo, an unintentional echo.
Not to split hairs. I'm trying to remember if she's a blonde or if she's a redhead, because I know which one you're talking about. The gal in the bikini, right?
I think she's a brunette, actually. Yeah, she is a brunette. So we're close. So close, but not no cigar.
Yeah.
Close, but no Freudian cigar.
Yeah.
So, God, this is where I wrote down Squiggy in my heart.
Yes. Toothpaste is good to have around, but you don't make it a partner. God.
Because he just breaks it. David Lander going for the gusto.
Oh.
Yeah, God, it's terrible. Helmut's such a dick. Literally, that is my note. Helmut, you dick.
Mine is dump Lenny? How dare?
How dare. You don't dump Lenny. Nobody dumps Lenny. The fact that he wants to be a horn dog ladies man with Helmut, God, yeah, I just, And also, I have to add, it's interesting to me that Helmut does not know about the boys' success with those acrobats. Mm-hmm. I mean, they literally got an act on television.
I would not be surprised if that's one reason why he finally has made his way over here.
Yeah.
And he's playing dumb because it's going to make Squig feel like, oh, he's really interested. Because if you tell them you already know their story, then they won't tell you their story and then give in and trust you.
Yeah. You have to do the con.
Mm-hmm.
You have to dedicate yourself to the con, otherwise you are never going to get the jackpot at the end of the rainbow.
Exactly.
And that's how people like Helmut think.
Mm-hmm.
He's a piece of garbage for that. People are just things to milk for money for him, and he is just trash. So of course he would see his son triumphant, climbing literally out of government assistance, and climbing out of one-room apartments, and climbing out of poverty, the common age is successful enough to actually get an act on national television, and not see that as a triumph from his son's perspective, and to be proud of him, and to realize that he deserves all the credit in the world, but to say, how can I profit from this, says everything.
Exactly. It's the final and lasting statement is, how can I profit from this? How can I make this about me?
How can I profit from this? Yeah. Yeah, it's awful. It's awful.
It is.
So we come back to Lenny.
Before we do, I have a note and a joke.
Oh gosh.
Remember when he gets, together again, this time forever, and then Helmut looks over, he sees the blonde again, and he goes, I found ourselves a new client, and Squigman's is put on the Squigman charm. He's, go out and sign her, Dad. Go out and sign her. And my note is, yeah, sure. He'll sign her to his next paternity suit. Yeah,
another child for him to ignore forever.
Exactly. Anyway, we come back to the apartment. Yes, go on, please.
Yeah. Poor Lenny is sitting there, writing out those contracts with a crayon, trying his hardest.
Oh, I forgot it was with a crayon. That's so cute.
Yeah, with a crayon.
Oh.
With a crayon, copying over his apartment lease. At least the boys got that refrigerator as part of the apartment. They didn't buy it themselves.
Yeah.
Gorillas with penguins on their heads. So cute.
Oh, God.
That joke what makes my pants dance. I mean, my heart. This is so adorable.
Is it penguins or is it gorillas? Is the one about the two gorillas going to the bar with the
gorillas
paper hats?
With penguins on their heads. Gorillas with penguins on their heads.
Girls with penguins. I don't know why I wrote down. Okay. Interesting.
That was the note that I took, and I was watching it, so I don't know. We'll double check that.
Yeah, whatever. I listen. This is about us analyzing. I don't care necessarily as much about getting the details of a particular quote and line. You guys can leave a comment. I'm not going to give a shit. But I
care.
I know, but but here, listen. I have my Resident Evil fandom to be pedantic about. I don't have time to be pedantic about two fandoms at the same fucking time. Anyway,
I can be pedantic enough for the both of us. I am the most pedantic person in this room.
Fine. Be that way.
Fine.
But anyway, the joke makes his pants dance, which I just thought of the idea of his pants going off of his legs and just doing a little dance around the room, and it's very cute. Yeah.
Oh, it's cute. It made me think of No Pants Dance by TWRP, which is a song.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Yeah. I like that one.
Yeah, No Pants Dance. Squiggy just kills me here. David acting the hell out of every second of the scene. Don't let me blow it, please.
My initial note is, my God, Squig, don't do this to your buddy. Don't do this to your Lenny.
He's a contender.
Also,
don't cut him like this.
Turning him into the silent partner, does that mean he's turning into Elliot Gould from The Silent Partner?
Possibly. You could be worse character.
True. I mean, there's the dude's not great. I mean, he does cover up the body that dies, the woman that dies in the middle of the movie, but, yeah. By the way, for anyone out there who's a fan of 70s crime movies, The Silent Partner with Elliot Gould and Christopher Plummer is a fantastic movie. It's a bit squeaky in some bits, but it is a goddamn great 70s neo-noir. And now I'm trying to imagine Michael McKean playing the Elliot Gould banker character.
Oh, yeah. You could have done that. You could have done that well. Mm-hmm. I can picture that. And
the go fuck yourself on the phone line. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Oh yeah. Go fuck yourself, dude.
Yeah. But Len and Squig.
Of course Lenny lets this go. Of course Lenny lets him go off and explore the situation with his dad.
And I think part of it is because Lenny sees it coming that Helmut's going to abandon him. And he's stomaching his own pride because he knows Squig's got to see this for himself.
Yeah.
And
he also
My last note on that is boys bonding, boys growing.
Yes, they do. My heart, my soul. The fact that he has seen Helmut, abandon Squiggy before, he knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But he also knows what kind of man Helmut is, like tendencies. So he knows he has to be there to cushion things, and he knows fighting Squiggy on this topic will just make Squiggy turn against him. So he knows that if he pushes Squiggy too hard, Squiggy will get mad and will withhold and will leave, and he doesn't want to go through that. So, ergo,
yeah. Because that's the thing, right? With Lenny, we've seen that there's a tendency for him to take certain hits and knocks because when he pushes, the person he's trying to connect with runs away. Now, there's times where that's superseded by his rage, as we've seen with like Lenny's crush and episodes like that, But like you look at Love is the Tar Pits and how he could have at least fought for trying to keep it a long distance friendship and keep connected and stay in touch. And he pretty much just gives it up when she breaks up with him. And it's brutal, but it's kind of but it's a case of where I think he knows if I keep trying to hold on, this is going to be harder for her, which is the sacrifice he feels like he's having to make. So
Yeah. Ultimately, he'll sacrifice himself.
Yeah.
Lenny's the kind of guy who will walk through like a plate glass window to save somebody he likes.
Yep.
And somebody he loves. He will do nearly anything in the name of someone he adores. And of course, he'll hurt a little bit for Squiggy now because he knows that in the end their bond will break. At this point, he knows that for sure. So all he really has to do is just sit there and wait it out until it's all over.
Yeah.
The way he gets kind of like be reserved and mature and calm here is very interesting. He's just kind of standing back and just letting all the chips fall at this point.
I almost wonder if it's him internalizing the idea of the silent partner.
Yeah.
Because the way he even delivers the line, we're going to get to it in a second, where the whole borrowing $200 thing, the reveal, the twist, that he even says, it's like, what do I know? I'm just a silent. Well, I mean, you guys owe him. I'm the silent partner, as in it's not up to me, which is him really just accepting the role, which I find very amusing and very literal Len.
Yes. Absolutely. And we know he can be a literalist.
Yep.
If it's called for, you can be a literalist.
Both of them. Both of them too. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shirley will tell him to slow down, and then he'll slow down.
Squiggy's cashing in his grandmother's chips.
His grandmother's chips. Yep. I was just about to do that impression. There you go.
I'm sorry, I beat you to it.
Okay. Yeah. The hug and then the manly shoulder punches. Oh, boys. I love that Frank as an MC, because we move up to Cowboy Bills now. Frank as an MC just tells people to shout their orders out.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
It's amazing.
And that's very New York. That's also very New Yorker who probably worked in a kitchen in New York in like this little cramped, like,
piece of joint,
like closet of a kitchen. And you've got boiling noodles over here. You've got sizzling pizza over here. You got burgers or a fry cook over here, and it's you're just trying to do the best you can. But we gotta talk about Junko though, because this is now where we actually get to see it. We gotta talk about him. So the actor playing him is Carl Carlson as Junko. Now he's not to be confused with Carl Carlson from The Simpsons. Carlson was an actual juggler and performer. Clips of whom you actually can even find here and there on YouTube. He would also play comedic roles in dramatic characters in TV all the way up to this point and to the end of his career. Now, he passed away in 2003 at the age of 82. But trivia note, he was also in Lawnmower Man 2 as his last IMDb credited part, was in an episode of Alf as a plate spinner, and even 2 episodes of The Girl from U.N.C.L.E. Now,
oh, cool.
This guy was well known enough that he is a major component of an actual juggling documentary that was made in like the early 80s. So this dude's the real deal. So all this this is not just like, oh, okay, I'm just going to get, trained or practice for a little while. It's like, no. This was even, like he did like even clownish or mime like, humor in the middle of his juggling and his street performing. So, I mean, he was, but anyway, go look him up.
Yeah.
But what's cool is they got a real dude. They got a real dude who, like, if you knew show business, you knew this guy.
That is so cool. I had no idea that he actually spun plates for a living. That is amazing. That reminds me of how they managed to pick up Peter Ebling.
Yes.
Because he used to perform street magic.
Mm-hmm.
He used to do mime stuff. He used to perform in the streets in New York. And that's how he got discovered.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, and that was even Robin Williams' thing too, right? That's the
Robin
really.
Williams is a mime.
Yep.
Yeah, he started out as a mime in San Francisco.
Yeah. What was it? It's like, you want me to have the street performer that's getting coins into a hat, and Ronnie, and Ronnie, Gary Marshall's sister, saying, it was a pretty full hat.
Yeah, it was a pretty full hat. I think it was one of his first auditions. I know he did stand up. He was part of several improvisational groups. Rather than was before he landed the more audition.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, he started out as a lot of street performance. It's amazing if you really look at it and really analyze it. How many people Gary Marshall gave chances to?
Oh, totally.
That became legends.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He took chances with people who may not have gone anywhere. He took a total chances with total newbies. And bless you, Gary Marshall, wherever you are. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, because, man.
But anyways, so back to the episode. Yes, Helmut checked up on Junko and borrowed $200 from Junko and said the agency would pay him back next week.
Yep. Squiggman and Son owes Junko $200. I'm just a silent partner.
And my note is Squiggy gets it. There is that.
Yep.
Lander captures that look of realization so much, so well. That's a hard thing to do, by the way. It seems like, oh wow, but it's like that always feels fake. There's a particular like almost like muscle movement and subtlety you have to like put yourself into to get the eyes right. That's really it's such an amazing touch. And that whole like, even to the point of him asking Lenny, where's my dad now? And Lenny goes, I don't know. And like he just immediately gets it. I think I know.
Yeah, I think I know. He immediately knows. The way David Lander used every single bit of his body, every single bit of his voice, every single bit of fast twitch muscle fiber in his being to bring Squiggy to life in this kind of scenes is really amazing. No, stop! He's doing the plates. Crash.
It's part of the act, folks. Don't worry about it. Yeah, Lenny trying to damage control after the mishap.
Oh, God. It's just part of the act, folks. And one of these days, you wonder how far Junko made it. You wonder if he finally just, ended up in the Big Apple Circus or something at some point. Helmut's in the apartment trying to get laid with the girl he tried to sign. With his pen.
The blonde. Oh my God. He's got
with his
her
leaky pen.
I hate I hate that he's also trying to get her drunk enough to fuck him. Like,
yeah.
I mean, okay.
What does that remind you of? Squiggy trying to get Francine drunk and Lenny's crush.
God.
And all my women drink shots. It dulls the pain.
No. Oh.
Yeah,
okay. To be fair, if she did end up sleeping with Helmut Squigman, I can actually say, to be fair, it's not the worst sex that this actress would have that decade, because we should talk about who that is. I assume you figured out who this is, I'm assuming.
Yeah, you go for it. Keep going.
That is Taffy O'Connell. Now, those of you who are Marshallverse fans will know that she is another Blansky's Beauties alum. She played Hillary S. Prentice on that show. Yes. Now, she was still working hard in the business in various TV projects around this time, but she just got one of her most infamous parts previous to this episode's appearance, that of Damea in Galaxy of Terror. Yes, the girl in that scene. But on the bright side, I will mention she was also in New Year's Evil about this time, which is worth pointing out because that movie is excellent. That's a fantastic 80s slasher movie. And she continues the 80s doing TV exploitation pictures, gets a couple of Dallas episodes in 1990, and a few films in the aughts or tens. Now, she seems to have retired from showbiz as of 2011, but she was in The Change-Up with Bateman and Reynolds. So that was kind of a nice little note to go out on. A little classier of a movie than where she began. Yeah. But
Yeah. After all that, yeah. But the best thing about someone who starts with the B's, they definitely know what it is to work in a tiny set with a tiny budget, and then when you get there, they usually end up being more appreciative of everything else that happens to them on a bigger budget movie set. Usually, not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, hopefully a safe set and a well-communicated set, because that's always the problem. Yeah. I mean, even Hollywood Boulevard has that joke about it where it's a really dark joke, and this is an already adult-rated episode, but there's the moment where they have to shoot the rape scene, and they pretty much just kind of snap their fingers and do it, and she's kind of left, like stunned, like what the fuck just happened. And but that's the point of it, is the dark humor of the joke is how there are those asshole filmmakers that don't communicate. Oh yeah, we're gonna do nudity today. Oh, we're gonna do a rape scene today. Oh, you're gonna get horribly murdered and have to scream for 20 minutes. Oh, you have to do the scene where you've escaped from the boat and now you're gonna have to climb out of this. And by the way, it's 20 degrees and we don't have any blankets for you. Like that kind of stuff. Like that's
God, yeah. I know people who have done that on TV set, and such TV shows.
Yeah.
I've heard of stories. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't ain't a budget thing sometimes. Ain't a budget thing.
And so anyway, back to the, to tie this into the episode, that is many ways the kind of sleazebag that Helmut is, that he would do that to any actress that he signs. Like, oh no, you gotta do the whole thing. You gotta oil the, you gotta lubricate the engine here to get your career on track. And it's like, I'm gonna strangle you, you asshole, you horrible human being. Oh my God.
And we get a sad parallel eventually with time in season 8 with Squiggy.
Ooh.
You just have to wait for it.
Oh, that stings. Anyway, so Squiggy finally starts to confront his dad. I heard about the $200, and he sends the girl out, the giggling blonde who's probably drunk as a skunk by this point. I just, oh my God, the particular exchange that really feels like I heard about the $200 is Squiggy warning him he has a gun in his pocket. Yeah. Him firing the first shot is, now son, would I lie to you? And he goes, I don't know, would you?
Yeah, God. Yeah.
And that is first shot fired.
He knows. And it's just like watching Squiggy pull his own guts out with his bare hands in this scene. And God, Helmut is an abusive dickhole.
Yes.
I'm not going to bother to be nice about it.
No.
He is awful. He is literally abusing his child, even though his child is a grown man. Mm-hmm. Which we know adults can do that to other adults.
Oh yeah, no, my grandparents did that to my mother.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Lived it, understood it, all that stuff. The argument is so well written, and so pointed, and so beautifully handled, and so good. So good. It is some of David Lander's best acting ever, and he just nails it to the wall. Mm-hmm. And he makes you feel, and does it well. Why not? You already have.
Yeah.
Right there. Right there. The psychological manipulation here is so evil on Helmut's part. It really is.
And I love that we get this setup. This is like one of those fantastic little like emotional beats that I can just imagine in the writer's room or with the cast. They're trying to figure out how to make this work. This is at the point he's kicking Helmut out. And now he starts to guilt him. Nothing to live on, no money, no son, and that's the truth, Andy. Yeah. And you got to have something. I ain't got nothing, but that's all right. I'll live. And as he's opening the door, he doesn't realize that Lenny's right there in the doorway, and he has to start pretending he's wiping it down. But it means that you're seeing Lenny getting to witness Squiggy standing up for himself.
Yes, that is so powerful. Squiggy knows this man didn't raise him, Lenny did. Yeah. He and Lenny raised each other.
Exactly.
So that's doubly powerful. And Lenny is sitting there being so proud of him and just not saying anything, but just letting it happen. For once, just letting it happen without being overly anxious or getting overly involved. And it's powerful. The subtlety of this scene is
And on that note, I have to do my Martin Scorsese movie nerd moment and mention that I love that when Helmut finally leaves, we hear the door slam, but we keep the camera on Squig, the same way he's feeling it, because he's not looking at the door. He's looking away. Yeah. We are in his shoes, listening to the sound of this horrible part of his life leaving. I love the detail. That is, that's really good. That's cinema. That's cinema. It's a good picture. It's a good picture.
Yeah. And we try to show that Helmut has the tiniest bit of humanity left in him, because he does hesitate. He does consider very briefly, being kinder or apologizing. Just look on his face. He does think about it.
Yeah.
But he ain't going to do it. He's too proud. The other thing that Squigmans definitely have is pride.
Too much of it.
Too much of it.
Yeah, there you go. Same brain,
Yep.
brain share. Yep.
Yep, brain share. Yep.
I also love the delivery, how it's so them. It's a very tough thing you just did. I'm real tough, ain't I? It's finally over between me and him. And it's like, well, I think it was over a long time ago. And then the quiet delivery, as Squiggy just says, maybe so, maybe so.
Yeah. The fact that we find out the Squigman lineage of bootleggers and pirates here, and how it has resulted eventually in one-time dreamer and schemer Andrew Squigman, who is still dreaming and scheming, but is starting to make a little bit of headway
Yeah.
in the world.
He
Says
is,
a lot.
he absolutely is the pick of the litter box.
Yeah, pick of the litter box. Yeah, pick of the litter box. We neglected to quote the line, "You left me when I was 9 years old, now you're going to leave me when I'm 29.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the boys are still a year older than the girls, because they were held back a year.
Yeah.
That's still
That's
nice.
the burn. That is a burn.
Yeah. It's just like David Lander stabbing you in the chest with an ice pick for like a good 15 minutes. It's so good. He's so good.
So that was the deleted twist to Basic Instinct, that he was actually the ice pick killer the whole time.
You don't mess with Principal Squiggy. Now I'm reminded of the thriller Betrayal of a Dove, which he starred in, which is really good, which is kind of Basic Instinct-esque, but he plays this nice guy who is also a private detective, trying to protect this woman who is, in fact, about to be murdered by her ex-husband and his new lover who want custody of their daughter. And it's real good. And David's real good in it. It's a weird little movie, and I love it.
Yeah, it's got young Billy Zane, Helen Slater, Kelly LeBron.
Yes. Yep. The boys just quietly and slowly murder us here. The Squignowski group. I mean,
you really want to call it that? Nah. And credits. I love it. It's perfect. No tag needed. It's great.
There's greatness in you, Lenny Squiggy. And of course, now the way they try to juggle the names, try to be more fair to each other, rather.
Mm-hmm.
All of it's great. All of it's great, and that's the boys. It's the boys are the best.
It is. It really is.
The tenderness of it is marvelous. Squig being fully grateful of the situation. Lenny being fully grateful of the situation. How they have grown and how they have changed since season 1 when they were threatening to throw pizza ovens into the middle of the street. So much has happened.
So with that in mind, I'd love to now, because, it's a good time, I think, to start talking about behind the camera, in front of the camera, things that we haven't discussed yet. I was looking for a time to bring up Roger Garrett, who's the written by credit for this episode. Now, this definitely feels like it has Lander and McKean's fingerprints on it, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if they did do some punch-ups on dialogue, or at the very least, they kind of talked it out with Roger.
I will say that Michael says that Roger Garrett was one of the writers who could write Lenny and Squiggy.
I was going to say, because that is the thing. This is his 7th of 11 episodes he has writing credit for, and he has had both Life is the Tar Pits, or Love is the Tar Pits. It's Life is the Tar Pits, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's Life is the Tar Pits. It's Life is the Tar Pits or Love is the Tar Pits, depending on who you ask.
Oh, for
to be
crying out loud. God damn it. All right. But he also did that and Born Too Late. And it's fantastic that he was kind of humbly began as doing the anniversary show In-Betweeners on season 2. But by this point had Born Too Late, Whited the Fireman, Survival Test, and Life is the Tar Pits, as well as others. And he has 3 more coming in season 8. And, there is something about the humanity and texture and nuance he's able to give these characters that is incredibly good. And is very, I say incredibly good. That feels like an understatement, because one thing I find really impressive with the script is how there is a sympathy and an empathy to what these characters go through. And even though we have the moment of, or I guess the moments, the characterization of Helmut being such a bastard, but even still, there is a very hurt. And I love you pointed out, he hesitates. He thinks about it.
Yes.
And he can't change his nature, or doesn't want to change his nature.
Yeah.
But there's part of him that wishes he could.
Yeah. Part of him wants to be a better man. Part of him wants to be a grown-up. Part of him wants to redeem himself for walking out on Squiggy and his sister. Well, we're going to find out there was a sister in season 8. So many years ago. But he can't. He just can't change his stripes. He can't change his mold. He's hearing it. At this point, it's basically over. He just has to keep living his life until some jealous husband shoots him. At this point, he doesn't have a chance to change. But here we prove that Squiggy does. Squiggy has a chance to become a better person. And he is a better person already. He's a better person than his father already, but he can become an even greater person. And the show's not afraid of suggesting that.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful. It really is.
It's good. Yeah. And so for, again, as always, we wish we could have Tom Turbovic notes, but we're at a point where schedule-wise, I've not really had the opportunity to really try to do as many deep dives to find any sort of factoids about him, so I apologize. We've covered him before in other episodes. We didn't want to just rehash that material. But yeah, the last thing I want to say about Roger Garrett is, we've got producing and writing credits that he does end up going on to, like Down to Earth, Empty Nest, It's a Living, etc. For the future. And I love that he was so prevalent on this show. He's one of those prevalent writers and prevalent in the Marshallverse. Even when we did the Blansky's Beauties episode, Nancy Remembers Laverne, he wrote that one too, which I find amusing.
That's right.
And again, a sign of, he understands these characters. He gave really interesting, fun characterizations to Laverne and Frank.
Yeah.
But anyway, so in front of the camera, the only one we haven't discussed is Paul Barcelou as the mailman. This is actually this is the first of 2 times we'll see Barcelou on the show. He reappears as the eulogist in Perfidy in Blue. Now, Barcelou was another longtime working actor, even back in the 1950s. He popped on the shows like The Untouchables, Dennis the Menace, Perry Mason in multiple roles, and even multiple parts of Bewitched. Around this time, he was really active, showing up on Little House on the Prairie, The Jeffersons, and would even drop in on Three's Company, Silver Spoons, and somehow in the middle end of his career, pop into Inner Space and True Lies. Go figure.
Cool. Fine films, though. I like Inner Space more than True Lies.
Not terribly surprised. It's more, I prefer True Lies, but I'm a Cameron fanboy, and that was that also was
it's a good movie.
It's a great movie. It's also, it was very seminal work in inspiring me as an action filmmaker. So
I'm not surprised. Because it's good. It's a very good action flick. It's a very good film. I love Arnold in it. I love Jamie Lee Curtis in it. Tom Arnold's fun in it.
Yeah. Oh, and Bill Paxton.
Yeah, Bill Paxton. Bill Paxton, baby.
Rest in peace, bud.
God, I miss Bill Paxton.
Man, we all do.
So good he's dead. Man, okay. But yeah.
So I guess that's...
I can see that. Yeah.
So is that going to be up to ranking time for us?
That makes me wonder, by the way, have you seen Inner Space?
Oh, yeah, no, we talked about that. Didn't we talk about Inner Space recently?
I think we did lightly. Yeah, and you said that you saw it when you were a kid, I think.
I'd seen parts when I was a kid, and then my dad and I watched it about 2 years ago.
Older. Yes. Okay, yes. Yeah.
I'm mad that Martin Short didn't become a household name after that movie. I cannot believe that film was a flop. Like a complete flop. I hate that.
Yeah. That's like one of my early poly influences, because you kind of want a story about all 3 of them being together. All these 3 characters, the Meg Ryan character.
I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah. You kind of want a story where they all get to be happy together, and everybody gets to be joyful and united in a single life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's an early poly influence on me. Okay, but yes, it is ranking time.
It is ranking
time. I am going to give this a solid 10.
I am as well.
Damn good episode.
Did we get we got 2 10s this year, didn't we?
Yeah.
Wow.
People who poo-poo season 7 often do not understand what they're talking about, because the show peaks in a lot of ways in season 7. There's a lot of good stuff in season 7. There's a lot of high quality episodes that are well directed and well written and well acted. And if you're depriving yourself of the California years because you consider the California move a shark jump, just skip the majority of the setup for season 6 and really dig in, because you are depriving yourselves. This is an amazing episode. This is some of David's best acting. The writing is amazing. The direction is amazing. Michael does some great human work as a supporting role here. everything is beautiful. Everything is beautiful. Beautifully acted, beautifully written, beautifully thought out. There's perfection from top to bottom.
It is, because it still makes you laugh. It makes you cry. It's a much better tonal balance than some of the other downer, kind of emotional episodes. And it's like when we consider the episodes that are about the parents in this, the characters' parents, I feel like this and Visits to the Cemetery are the two best ones, where they really capture that level of complication. And they're both, and one is a tragedy about trying to reconnect with something you've lost. And this one is very much about realizing it's time to cut bait because that shark is going to take your boat down.
Yep. There's also echoes of this and A Night of the Words.
Yes, there is as well.
Lenny finally realizes it's time to move the lights to green and it's time to leave his mom behind.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's good stuff, but cool.
Yeah. Amazing.
What do we have next? I feel like, this is quite a, this is a pretty bleak episode. Like, I feel like we need something to kind of pick us up and get us dancing again.
Get your tap shoes ready. When Carmine and Frank get into a debate about whether today's music or the music of the past is the best, they find themselves taking a wild fantasy music-laden ride through music's past and music's present. That's entertainment.
Wow. That sounds like a blast. And I guess we'll see how that all goes out. But, okay, cool. I'll get my shoes. I'll get my nice jacket, put some tunes on in the car, and we'll go on over.
It's in short, music. Everything's musical. Think Tom Jones, baby.
Yeah, that's not unusual.
Yeah, it's not unusual. To be mad than a woman. Okay. Bye, y'all. And for heaven's sake, whatever you do not let your parents manipulate you into doing something you don't want to do. That's for your significant other to do. Bye.